Welcome to Mind-Blowing Energy in You, bringing the woo-woo to everyday living. I'm your host, Lynn Profitt, energy and life coach with Living Currents, Energy and Life Coaching. Mind-Blowing Energy in You is a show that brings what used to be thought of as New Age or woo-woo to the forefront of how we live every day. So past and current research has shown that we're not only made up of energy, but so is our entire world. There's so much more to who we are and the lives that we live. So let's get living in the unlimited world of energy. And for more about myself, you can go to livingcurrents.com and receive your free meditation to help you live a life based in who you really are. Before we begin, I just want to give a quick shout out to today's sponsor, A Chime for Healing, handcrafted wind chimes tuned to healing frequencies. And see A Chime for Healing at achimeforhealing.ca. And today we'll be chatting with Roberta Shepherd. Roberta is Edmonton's Flower Essences aficionado, and she'll explain to us how flower essences work within our own energy and help us create lasting changes in our lives. Welcome, Roberta.
Thank you.
So, Roberta, flower essences are not all that common for most of us.
Not, no.
No. So, could you just explain to us a little bit of how they work and what they actually do for us?
Yes. Okay, so before I explain how they work, I'm going to preface that by what they are. Because the most common misconception is that flower essences are aromatic, that they are synonymous with aromatherapy, and they are not.
Okay.
Flower essences are vibrational remedies that are ingestible by mouth. They all smell the same. They do not carry unique aromas. Okay? So they work on a vibrational level, which of course means that this is the energy of plants that we're utilizing. So they work by resonance, which of course is the capacity for one system to match and mirror the vibrational frequency of another system. So let's use a basic example. Let's say someone is trying to gain more confidence. Well, the truth is, of course, we're born with that capacity. That's innate in us to be confident. We bury the confidence, the organic confidence that we have, with stories that get in the way. Stories about ourselves not being good enough or us lacking capacity in the world we live in, whatever. There's many different stories, which can also be called paradigms. Things we believe to be true about ourselves, life, or the world. So if we're ingesting a remedy for confidence, let's say, and there are many, what happens is that energy for confidence, which is within the vibrational remedy, the flower essence, when we ingest it, what happens is our systems have the capacity by resonance to match and mirror the vibrational quality of confidence. And because we already have the energy for confidence, what happens is the flower essence brings that energy to the forefront.
Wow. That's actually, that is really interesting because, like, what are some of the other things, like you were talking about confidence, but like what other types of things can we use them for?
Oh my gosh. Flower essences are employed for any thought process, belief system that is getting in the way of us achieving what we truly want in our lives. So there are flower essences available for connecting with angels. There are flower essences available for creating a relationship with a spiritual source, a higher power. There are flower essences for imparting trust. There are flower essences to work through body image issues, for joy, for connecting with one's inner child, for healing trauma. The whole gamut of, like, whatever it is that to remember that, as holistic beings, we are made up of 4 parts: mental, emotional, physical, and spiritual. And our world tends to approach life and living and healing within only 25 to 50% of that realm. Physical and a lot of times mental too.
Yeah.
Physical and mental. And we're missing 50% of the pie here, which is the emotional and the spiritual, you know? And if we only focus on the physical, we're missing 75%. So as you know, everything which ails us has a mental, emotional, spiritual, and physical component.
Right, right.
So, you know, working within energy is more than 75% of our reality. It's just whether or not we choose to acknowledge that.
Wow. Yeah, that's a very important part actually that you're talking about right there. How do you determine like what somebody could use for flower essences or what would benefit them the most?
Yeah, good question. So I work with people in a consultation fashion. And I spend, the first time I spend an hour and a half, everything consecutive is about an hour. I can do it off the cuff if need be. And so what I'm looking for when I speak to people is a couple of different things. So I ask people, like my favorite question, which I ask to everyone who wants to use flower essences, is if I were to make the perfect flower essences blend for you here today, what would the outcome be? Which another way of saying that is what would change, right? And so, you know, people tell me what their goals are and how they want to see their lives change to create greater joy and fulfillment. What I'm ultimately aiming the flower essences at, beyond what their specific desire is for change, is the woundedness and the paradigms. At least that's where we start, because contextual information is important to our healing journey moving forward. So we all have wounds. We all have paradigms. They exacerbate each other. They play off each other. So we have wounds from the past, and if we fail to process those things, they can hover beneath the conscious forefront and spew out in all these different ways that we lack awareness around. So I look at and I ask people to share with me the wounds from the past, as well as if they can catch it, what the paradigms are. And the paradigms are the belief structures that are operating on a mental level that are keeping us stuck or small or sick or whatever. And so the woundedness creates paradigms, and the paradigms propagate the woundedness. So I use the flower essences and I aim at those things to help people gain greater resolution so that we can leave the past in the past and we can move forward towards our more fulfilling destiny.
Wow. Yeah, actually, and you know, just speaking of energy and how, like you were talking about the resonance and figuring out where people are at, what they want, it actually sounds absolutely amazing. But like you said at the beginning, you said, you know, it's not associated with aromatherapy or anything like that. So how do they actually, I guess in a sense, extract the energy from the plants themselves to end up with flower essences?
Yeah. So what they do, the way that a flower essence is prepared is they take the flowering tops of plants only. Okay. They also gather the flowering tops at a specific time of year, at a specific time of day, because we live in a cyclical world whereby the energy shifts through the seasons and each day. The energy shifts. There's a way different energy first thing in the morning when the sun's coming up than when the sun is going down and the moon is coming up, right? There's energetics at play constantly. So they gather the flowers at their peak energetic expression, which depending on the flower in the region can be different. And they gather them. And now another piece of contextual information is that a flower is a way by which a plant expresses itself spiritually. So they're gathering the spiritual expression of plant at the peak of its energetic expression. Then they put these flowers into a crystal bowl with spring water, and they put this bowl with water with flowers into direct sunlight. Now, the sun infuses the water with the vibrational blueprint of the flower. We know that water both has the capacity to hold energy, to carry a vibrational charge. We also know that water has a memory. So water remembers that which has been infused in it, or which has been in it before. So they do that. They put it into direct sunlight. Now the water is holding the vibrational blueprint of the flower. They meditate with the preparation. They drain off only the water, and they put it with some form of preservative, most commonly brandy. Now this is called a mother essence. And then they take the mother essence and they decant them into what are called stock bottles, which I have many behind me right now.
Yeah.
And then I draw from the stock bottles and create dosage bottles. So
Okay.
that's how they extract the energetic quality. Yeah.
Okay. And so through your consultation with the client, you create using various flower essences for whatever they're looking at or whatever seems to be required?
Yes, of course, dependent, right? I work with about 156 different flowers, of which each one has a unique vibrational expression. And I'm kind of like a flower interpreter. Like at this point, after 12 years of practice, people talk. Even I go out for coffee with you. Sometimes I hear flowers. Well, sounds like Lynn needs buttercup or whatever it is, right? I don't talk in that capacity. I don't tell you, whoa, you sound super buttercup right now. But I hear those things, right? And so what I do is by the end of the session, considering the contextual information that is the woundedness, the paradigms, and how people want to see themselves change, as well as using my own intuition to tap into the energy of person, I then, as a flower interpreter, pair, or not even pair, it's more than pair, I associate anywhere from 1 to 5 flowers with what it is the person is saying and with what it is that they're saying to achieve. And then I make on the spot in front of them a blend of anywhere from 1 to 5 flowers, custom blended for their specific situation.
Wow. And okay, just explain a little bit about how you take them.
About how you take them. Okay. So flower essences, it's recommended to take them in a cyclical fashion. One cycle with any flower essence is about 28 days. So you take, which is a moon cycle. And so you take the flowers 4 times per day, about 4 drops under the tongue 4 times per day for a period of about 28 days. That's the recommended period of time. It's the time within which most people will perceive some degree of a shift. But it's an intuitive process. There's no right or wrong. There are only guidelines. And flower essences work exponentially. So the repetition of the 4 times per day is quite important. It's like a crescendo. You build energy on itself to the point where there's a lot of volume, much like in music, right? You build the volume of the instrument in a crescendo. It's the same. You build the energy of the flowers so that there's greater volume, which creates the capacity for a shift in awareness. And I mean, a miracle is a shift in perception.
Yeah.
And so flower essences facilitate hundreds of tiny little miracles every day just by helping human beings to shift their perceptions.
Wow. That is actually so amazing. And like I said, so few people seem to know about flower essences. And yet it just, I mean, it makes perfect sense energetically, and it's an amazing process that they use like all around. So yeah, it's incredible. But Roberta, can you just tell, like, if any of our listeners wanted to get hold of you for a consultation or just find more information about you and flower essences, where could they go?
Yeah, absolutely. So my website is rawberta.com. That's RAWBEERTA.com. And I have a practice here out of Lifestyle Meditation. And Lifestyle Meditation's website is lifestylemeditation.com.
Great. And yeah, I will put those at the end of the podcast here, so anybody that wants to write them down can get them a little bit easier.
Awesome.
Thank you so much, Roberta, for this amazing information. It's like I said, it's so little known, and yet it sounds like it can be an incredible help for so many people.
Yeah, it is.
But, well, it was a pleasure having you here today. And if there is anybody that would like to know more about Roberta and the flower essences, I will put up her email address and at both her own and Lifestyles Meditation. And thank you so much for listening. I'm your host, Lynn Profitt, And make sure to join us next week to hear more about mind-blowing energy in you. And don't forget to go to our website at livingcurrents.com for your free meditation. Thanks. Can't wait to see you next week.